Knowing how to recognize and recover from a stall or spin are both very crucial skills for a pilot to have because you will be able to get yourself out of a potentially dangerous situation. So we're going to be starting on stalls today. To understand what a stall is, you have to look at the aerodynamics of a wing. I have a cross section of a wing drawn here. So typically, you'll have airflow conforming to the top and the bottom of the wing, and that would create because the camber of the wing on top is larger than the one on bottom, that will create a low pressure system above the wing and a high pressure system below the wing, and that is what we call a lift. Now, a stall is what happens when the angle of attack, that's the angle of the wing compared to the relative wind, when you reach the critical angle of attack, the airflow on top of the wing can no longer conform to the shape of the wing, and thus lose lift, which is a stall. There are many different types of stalls. The two I want to focus on today are power off stalls and power on stalls. Power off stalls are very common in the approach to the landing phase of flight because, like the name suggests, the power is in a low power setting, and if you hold level flight at that altitude with a low power setting, the critical angle of attack may be exceeded, and you could stall at that phase. One thing I want to point out is that a lot of people believe that stalls have to do with how slow you're going, which isn't the case at all. The only thing that determines a stall is the when you exceed that critical angle of attack. So some things that can factor into the stall speed, though, are your configuration with whether you have flaps and gears there, the weight of the aircraft, the center of gravity of the aircraft, and things like the load factor. So if you're in a turn, for example, your stall speed would be increased. So the bottom of the green and the white arcs that you see on your airspeed indicator, that does not necessarily that doesn't denote the actual stall speed. So for a power off stall, what's gonna happen is first you might notice a stall horn go off, or a stall warning light go off, or potentially your airplane has a stick shaker that would go off. That would be your first indication of a stall. After that, you'll notice a decrease in the effectiveness of the controls, and then buffeting, which would be vibration throughout the aircraft, followed by the loss of lift being the stall. To recover from a power off stall, because you're in the low power state, you want to, before I even say that, what you want to do is you want to decrease your attitude. You want to put the nose down a little bit more than you have it. And then, as I was saying, you want to increase your power. That gets more air over the wings. That will decrease your angle of attack, and then you will break the stall, and then you can slowly recover from that. You don't want to pull back to where you were initially too quickly, or that could cause a secondary stall, which would not be good. On the other side of the coin, you have power on stalls. Now, power on stalls most likely occur on the takeoff and climb phase of flight. This is when you are in a high power setting at a high angle of attack and relatively low airspeed. So, again, the recognition of the stall would be the same as a power off stall. And to recover from one of those, from a power on stall, what you want to do is you want to decrease, again, your angle of attack. So that might just be bringing it level to the horizon, or you might want to do a bit of nose down as well. Your power should be at full power, but if it's not, then you definitely want to go to full power there. One important thing that I cannot stress enough when it comes to stalls is to stay coordinated, because if you do not stay coordinated, that stall will become a spin, which is the next topic here. So, a spin is basically when you, as an uncoordinated stall. So one wing will be more stalled than the other. and then that's what creates that corkscrew-like pattern down to the earth. So again, just it's really important to not get yourself into these situations, but if you do, you need to know how to recover from them. So the first step into recovering from a spin would be to reduce the power, because that just aggravate the torque of the propeller. That will aggravate the spin, and also it will get you to the ground quicker. So you don't want that. Then you want the ailerons to be neutral. Like I said, one wing is stalled more than the other, so adding some aileron in there, it could also definitely aggravate the spin and make things much worse. Then, in order to break the spin, you want the full opposite rudder. So if you're spinning to the left, you want to add full right rudder, and that should definitely slow down the rate of your spin. And then to break the spin, you need to advance the elevators forward at a brisk motion to break the spin. And then after that, you'll basically just be in a dive. So you just recover from that like you're recovering from a really bad stall, which is basically what a spin is. Like I said before, as long as you maintain coordination, you really shouldn't have to be facing that. Now, another topic I would like to touch on, last one for today, would be slow flight. Let me find what I do with that. Now, in any flight, you're going to be doing some amount of slow flight, typically in the takeoff and landing phases of flight. And that's also when you are closest to the ground. So they should be really cautious about stalls and spins, how you don't want to get into a situation like that. So in order to understand how an airplane maneuvers at slower than normal speeds, you'll most likely be practicing slow flight. So you'll be up at altitude where a stall or spin can be recovered from at that altitude. And basically you'll decrease your speed to about your rotate speed. So, for example, in a Cherokee, that's about 60 to 70 miles an hour. Let's see. So to enter slow flight, what you want to do is decrease your power, and then hold your altitude with the elevator. And then as you start to lose airspeed, you want to increase the power again, and you're going to need a surprisingly large amount of power in order to stay, because you're out at what they call the backside of the power curve. So you don't have that much parasite drag, but you do have enough induced drag at that point. One main thing I can say about slow flight is that typically while flying, you use your throttle to control airspeed and the elevator to control your pitch or your changes in altitude. It's actually the opposite in slow flight. What you want to do is you want to control the pitch of the aircraft with the throttle, and you want to control the airspeed with the elevator, so it's kind of backwards. Also, because there's a lot less air flowing over the wings and the control surfaces, you're going to notice that the controls are a lot less receptive to your inputs. So sometimes you might have to put a lot more effort to make a turn, for example. You can have to put a lot more aileron and rudder in there. Also, when you do make turns in slow flight, don't go overboard with the bank, because you are at a higher angle of attack, and whenever you go into a turn, that puts additional loading on the wings, more G-force, and that could put you to the point where you'll be in a stall. So you want to just look out for that. And again, a stall is it's not too far off when you're in slow flight, you know. So you always want to make sure you're coordinated at all times in slow flight. I believe that's all I have to say on that. So yeah.